Jets insiders just revealed a shocking Jets update that I don't think any fans saw coming, and we're about to break it all down. What's up, Jet fans? I'm Julian Lacasto, joined by my co-host Nick Perry, and this is the Gang Green Report. If you're tuning in, hit that like button on the way in and subscribe if you're new so you can stay up to date with all things relating to the New York Jets this offseason. Let's get into the video, guys. Rich Cimini of the Jets Beat just recently reported on an ESPN article saying that there's a lot of Jets buzz surrounding Ole Miss quarterback Jaxson Dart. More specifically, he mentioned that the offseason edition of Justin Fields won't stop the Jets from taking a quarterback in this year's draft. Now, guys, I've been a big fan and supporter of Jaxson Dart this entire draft process. A lot of people aren't high on him because of his throwing motion and saying that his success in college was only scheme dependent and that he was in the shotgun and that he couldn't play a traditional NFL offense and throw under center. Guys, I just don't think that's the case. I think if anything, this is a natural athlete, solid playmaker that is light on his feet in the pocket and capable of making majority of the throws you need to make. He's done really great showing so far at the Senior Bowl and then again at the Combine as well, showing that he can throw under center and get into his drops and make throws. Nick, what are your thoughts so far on Jaxson Dart as a prospect? And just let us know. Yeah, let's hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I think he's a phenomenal athlete at the quarterback position, who not only I think is accurate, like you said, and make big time throws when they matter, but can also get it done on the ground when needed, which is something new for him, I think. He was significantly improved since his freshman year at USC. Obviously didn't play too much there as a freshman, but did start out there, played 3 years at Ole Miss. Every year he has improved on passing yards, touchdowns, touchdown to interception ratio, completion percentage, and QBR. I think he finished fourth, ranked in QBR in the country last year. I feel personally he can make his point for being taken even higher than some of the QBs being taken in this draft. You know, Cam Ward, Shador, those are always like the top two. I think they'll always be a top two no matter what. But I think he could definitely make his point for being that clear-cut number three, possibly even two. I would love for him to come in and me personally, as like a Jets fan, I would love for him to come in, sit for a year or two, learn the system, get the information, learn from Tyrod, learn from Justin, just anything. Like, I really hope he does. No matter where he goes, I hope he has a solid career, but it would be pretty cool to see him in green and white for a season.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've been saying this for a while, and I'm in the camp of like the Jets getting a rookie to join the group anyway. Like whether it's Dart or whether it's a first round quarterback, later round. I love the idea of adding to the room. I just love Fields, but based on the contract value alone, and I've said this multiple times on the show, but he isn't being brought in to be the franchise savior. Nobody's expecting that to happen. I think a lot of Jets people are high on him. If I had to put a number on it, I could probably see it being more of like the 30% chance he actually pans out and is the guy going forward. I'd love that to be higher. Obviously, I love the player, and I'm optimistic that we can go in thinking that he's our franchise guy, but I ultimately think he has to prove it. So, we've even heard rumblings by, our senior football advisor, Rick Spielman. He was on CBS before, obviously, he took the job with the Jets. But he even said that he really likes Dart out of all the quarterbacks this year in the draft. So a union could be something that I see the Jets doing, obviously based on those reports alone. In my opinion, though, I would still go BPA. Like we've mentioned in past videos, I'm a big fan of going either Tet McMillan, Tyler Warren, Armand Membu. Those are guys that I'm very high on at 7. I think those value-wise are a lot higher on the list for the Jets. And if you want Dart, at best, the Jets could trade back into the back half of the first round, grab Dart then, or take him in the second round if he's there at pick 42. Nick, what are your thoughts on taking Dart at pick 7 or even grabbing him later on if he's available?
Yeah, I would totally agree with you. I would love to take like best player available, especially for me, if it's Tech McMillan or Warren. Tyler Warren is on the board. We could go later in the first with a trade back, like you said, even take him in a later round if he's possibly there at a different round. And with that moving, snag another pick. There's a whole bunch of things that can happen if we trade back, which would be great for us as well. We could go the 2022 route, and somehow get back in the first and really go after him, like we did with JJ, Sauce, and Garrett. But I would stay away from the 7th pick for him, Jaxson Dart specifically.
Yep.
I love him, but I would not use the 7th pick on him, but definitely have him high on the board. I mean, I just feel like you said, even Armand Membu, I mean, we're kind of like still like kind of one injury away from something happening to that offensive line. So I think that would be huge for us to get somebody like that, or Tet or Warren. I love Jaxson Dart, but I would stick with him later on.
Yeah. Now, I like the idea of taking a quarterback regardless, in
Hmm.
general in this draft at some point, but I think we can't just go into camp with Fields, Tyrod, and JT. I don't even think JT makes the roster, to be honest with you. He may be fighting for a spot this coming off season, if anything. I think at the worst, you have almost like a Minnesota Viking situation where you take the young quarterback this year, he learns from Fields and Tyrod for a year and gains valuable experience. And if Fields goes off, you have your guy, and you could trade Dart, like kind of like the situation they had with Sam Darnold, where Sam Darnold ended up going off, and then throughout the year there was rumblings like, oh yeah, like we'll trade JJ McCarthy now and just keep Sam Darnold, and or you have the other situation where you flip flop it and Fields flops and you have a guy waiting in the wings and you kind of let him go and have Dart be your full-time guy going forward. So I could see that going which way, like either which way. But Nick, give us your room to comment here on that type of a comp. Do you see something similar going on there? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty like spot on comparison right there. I agree that if we bring in, I mean, even if it's not Dart, even if we bring in Dart, McCord, Milrow, whoever it is, unfortunately, I think JT will get the boot. Probably will be fighting for that spot and eventually get the boot in camp, which I hate to see because I've said it on here and I've said it to you personally. Like I really loved him coming out of Florida State. But I think the JJ comp, just by draft comparison, is pretty spot on, like that JJ McCarthy. I think that we have a guy. I like that we have a guy in the waiting and in the wings, especially a non-rookie. God forbid he doesn't work out next year with Fields. We have Dart in the waiting, so even if he just learned for a year, um, and I think that'd be great. It'd be nice to have him waiting in the wings, not throw him right into the fire. As soon as it happens, we've seen analysts, porters, everybody like, oh my gosh, this new NFL where we're just throwing rookies in everywhere, and we wonder why they don't pan out. Is like it is very true. So I think guys that we have seen be backups for a while and come into the league, or just a different destination turn out to be pretty well. So I think I do like the comp, and I definitely think we're on the right track there.
Yeah, and you mentioned it too, but I also don't think the Jets will be looking at just Dart. You mentioned it just now, but from what I've seen, they've also done their extensive homework on Kyle McCord from Syracuse and also Jalen Milrow as well. I, for one, really like McCord, former Ohio State quarterback, has that connection with Garrett. Essentially, I mean, even if it was only a year and he was the backup quarterback, but still they have that connection. They know each other. Garrett Wilson commented on the picture of him saying that he was a dog, war number 6 from Mark Sanchez. I think that could be a great swing in the mid rounds. I don't think you're going to have to take a high pick on that. I also think the Jets love the upside and athleticism that Milrow brings to the table. They were at his pro day. He ran the 4.37, which is absolutely insane for a quarterback. Nick, give us your thoughts on the quarterbacks in general, and who might you see as an option later on that you like?
Yeah, I think definitely if I had to pick one, I think I would definitely go Kyle McCord. Just with like you said, even if it's just like a backup, like having some connection with your wide receiver one, I think in the NFL is absolutely huge. And I mean, Kyle McCord, like yes, he bounced around a little bit, but I mean, was a straight baller this year at Syracuse. I mean, he had the record this year or he led everybody in college passing yards, passing touchdowns. I mean, he was just an absolute animal. He can get it done with his legs too. He's nowhere near the runner that Jalen Milrow is. But I mean, he can for sure get it done. I think yes, Jalen Milrow has definitely stepped into that starting senior position at Alabama, which is an unbearable weight to hold going into such a historic franchise like Alabama. But he definitely has his issues. Like his legs are unbelievable. I mean, 20 rushing touchdowns this year for 726 yards. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Touchdown interception ratio like 16-11. Not something you really want to see, especially behind what people say is some of the best offensive line. So you have plenty of time to throw. So for me personally, I would take McCord. I think the number 6 for Sanchez is also just like a cherry on top kind of thing. Is just a cool like homage to the Jets, which is cool. Me personally, I would take him. I mean, there's a ton of other quarterbacks too, like Dylan Gabriel's another one. Keep an eye on. I would take McCord over all of them, but yeah, that's how I kind of stand. I would definitely take him later on, take that swing pick. Another guy who could be waiting in the wings.
Yeah, I mean, well, the Jets need to hit on a quarterback eventually, and why not just take a stab on a couple of young guys in Fields and a prospect in this year's draft. It doesn't have to be Dart, but I think as a GM, you can't not find your quarterback of the future. It's the most important position in football for a reason. So I'll be shocked if the Jets take him at 7. I don't think that'll be the case ultimately, but let us know in the comments, guys. Like this video and subscribe if you're new. And as always, guys, go Jets.